My coworker told HR that she was triggered by my new body and I should have thought of other people's feelings and warned her before my surgery. Now she has no job. I just came back to work after a month-long emergency medical leave. After a decade of medical gaslighting, a new doctor ordered an emergency MRI during a routine visit and discovered a mass in my abdomen. I was rushed into surgery within 24 hours. I ended up having an 18-pound benign tumor pressing on my vital organs, and I was about a week away from multiple organ failure. I'm lucky to be alive, and time will tell if I have any lasting organ damage. But right now, everything is fine. Mentally, I'm struggling with a few things, but the only outwardly noticeable impact is that I've gone from a size 20 to a size 8. Nobody on my medical team anticipated a drastic change, but I'm healthy and lucky. I was expecting to get a lot of questions from my coworkers because curiosity exists. I had a basic emergency surgery, but I'm fine now. Answer that almost everyone accepted but one coworker, who I hardly speak to, Aubrey. On my first day back to work, Aubrey approached me and said, "I wish you had come to me to lose the weight instead of resorting to such drastic measures. You're going to gain it all back, you know. I'll be waiting." I knew Aubrey's reputation, but I didn't think it would be an issue since we never worked together. She's one of those people who think they're fitness experts and calls herself a health coach. She has a reputation for giving out unsolicited and incorrect health advice and is always commenting on people's food choices. I was speechless when she asked why I opted to get butchered instead of putting in the hard work to lose the weight. There's nothing wrong with someone choosing surgical weight loss options, but that's not what happened to me, and I really resented her aggressive attitude / spreading rumors. During my second week back, she came by my office in athletic gear at the end of the day, offering to go with me if I was too afraid to go to the gym alone. At the time, I wasn't even cleared to lift my kid, do laundry, or climb a flight of stairs, let alone go to the gym with this crackpot. I don't remember what I said to her, but she left, saying I'd regain weight because I'm lazy. The next day, Aubrey ranted angrily about me in a meeting I wasn't in. I don't know everything said, but the gist was that if I can't dedicate myself to weight loss, I obviously can't see my work obligations through. HR called for a red flag mediation. At our company, mediation can go against your bonus opportunities for the year. I have no idea why I'm in mediation when she's the one being an asshat. At the mediation, Aubrey stated that she was triggered by my new body, and I should have thought of other people's feelings and warned her before my surgery. I hardly had time to warn my husband and get my kid out of daycare. I don't owe Aubrey anything. I empathize with her and I know she's struggling, but that does not excuse her behavior. HR said that while they couldn't ask me to explain my medical history, it might clear the air if I told her what kind of surgery I had and why. I said I wasn't obligated to share my medical information with anyone, and that Aubrey having bad coping skills doesn't entitle her to a coworker's personal health information. They responded, "Well, then we can't stop her from bullying you." After Thanksgiving, my doctor helped me complete ADA accommodation paperwork so I could work from home. I was having some mild complications from surgery, but I also avoided Aubrey. This company hates remote work, so they're not happy. Aubrey still emails me workout videos and diet plans, and when I forward them to HR, their response is, "Noted. Do you know when you're coming back to the office? I've been thinking about escalating this to corporate with an employment lawyer. Is that overkill?" I'm still in a sensitive place after my surgery, and I have no energy for this, especially since Aubrey is fixated on weight loss, which was the primary way doctors gaslight me for years. I've been with this company for 5 years, and I'm just exhausted and disappointed in how they're handling this, and I wanted over yesterday. Update 1, all I have to say for this update is hold on to your banana pants. I saw a lot of comments asking where management was in all this, so I'll address that first. My boss, George, was getting ready to retire while this was going on. George is roughly my grandfather's age, so this entire situation bewildered both him and his replacement, who he was training at the time. Both of them met with Aubrey's boss because I was documenting everything she did from the jump, and they all assured me that Aubrey would be dealt with. None of them recommended red flag mediation, which was HR's idea. I was given details of the meeting where Aubrey ranted about me, and it was horrible, but apparently, Aubrey was asked to leave by her own boss. At the same time, several other employees told her to stop, so managerially and in the office in general, people were trying to rein her in from many different angles. HR is where the ball drops and drops hard. This company just has a poor HR structure and bad entry to mid-level HR. When Aubrey's boss referred her to HR regarding her negative behavior, HR took it upon themselves to consider it a mediation situation, which, remember, at our company, can go against your bonus for the year, despite communication from George, his replacement, and Aubrey's boss saying I wasn't in the wrong. When George learned about this, he spoke to the HR generalist manager, who said that my absence probably caused a lot of strain and extra work for Aubrey when Aubrey's not even credentialed to do what I do. Management told me how baffled and upset they were with HR's handling of the situation whenever something came up. My company mentor was also a huge support until she decided to take another job elsewhere. When my doctor extended my aid to work from home accommodation a second time, HR told me my attendance was a concern. I emailed their boss's boss, the HR director, and asked for clarification. He said I hadn't come into the office, so, of course, my attendance was a problem. I reiterated I had medical documentation stating that if WFH wasn't available, then they could refer to the FMLA documentation my medical team also sent. He replied that medical documentation, including both FMLA and ADA reasonable accommodations, doesn't hold much weight with the company. That's when I got a lawyer. As a problem, Aubrey drifted to the background when HR started their medical documentation doesn't matter campaign. On my lawyer's recommendation, I contacted the HR executive team, where this cursed situation came to light. And I did check with my lawyer about emailing this update, and they laughed and said I couldn't leave people hanging after all that. I called the chief HR officer, which for my company is going over like 5 people's heads, but I did it with George's and my new boss's blessings, who is the head of HR, and asked why my attendance was an issue when I had reasonable ADA documentation. She had no idea what I was talking about, so I filled her in on all of it, including the mediation meeting and Aubrey's harassment, and the HR director saying medical documentation didn't hold any weight with the company. She was speechless and asked to meet with me and my lawyer as soon as possible. My lawyer hardly had to do anything during the meeting because the CHRO was horrified at everything I told her. I've never seen steam come out of someone's ears, but it would have happened here if it was physically possible. My lawyer didn't need to say a word, but just nodded and smiled when the CHRO offered an extended paid medical leave so I could handle my recovery, and said Aubrey constantly sending me fitness plans would be dealt with swiftly. I didn't hear anything from Aubrey for a long time, but I did hear through some gossip channels that the HR staff involved in the red flag meeting, who threatened to write me up, were let go. Aubrey wasn't fired because they believed she was misled by HR, so I understand that part even if I don't agree with it. But she was on a tight pip for a while. Then she showed up at my house. Now we moved from banana pants to full-on banana ensemble. I'm still on leave and out of the blue. Aubrey showed up at my door on a weekend with 2 other women in tow, and the commenters guessed it. She's in very deep with an MLM. Aubrey came over to demonstrate some workout techniques and give me some diet supplement samples and discuss a career opportunity because she was worried about my physical and professional health. She didn't make it past my mother-in-law, who has been a godsend right now. My mother-in-law made it clear where Aubrey could stick her demonstration, and they left in a hurry. I notified my lawyer and the CHRO and said that Aubrey is now a full-time wellness coach. I'm happy I went with my gut and got a lawyer, because the company has changed so drastically over the last year, with the toxic HR department encouraging behavior like Aubrey's and spreading false information about medical leave and time off. The company is almost unrecognizable. Also, with my boss and mentor both gone, I don't know if I'm going to go back once I'm medically cleared. The company is also undergoing a restructuring right now, and my department may end up being distributed between other parts of the company or even other parts of the state. I have been looking at jobs and drafting resumes for a full-time remote position since it might be a better fit. Final update, I got an offer from a local company that's going fully remote with administration and management meeting up once a month. The salary was right. It's 90% remote. It's a good fit, so I'm happy with it. My role is HR, adjacent to the head of payroll. I reported to the COO and was hired by the CEO and COO. I walked into our first admin meeting and was sitting across from me, but the HR director who told me medical documentation didn't matter and orchestrated my red flag meeting. Let's call him Bob. Bob is the interim HR director for this company. Bob looked very uncomfortable when he saw me. We went through some employee files, including several who are on maternity leave and 2 who were injured on a job site. Bob got quieter as we began reviewing medical documentation and approving paid leave. I smiled and looked him in the eye when asked, "Does Jill have her medical documentation?" "Great. Medical documentation holds a lot of weight. That's important stuff to have." He looked like he wanted to melt into his seat. At one point, he tried to argue against someone using their PTO to provide end-of-life care for a parent when they had ample PTO. I smiled and said, "You're right. Our employee support fund should cover half this time. It's a shame for them to have to lose all their PTO when they're going to need it to heal and grieve over the next few months. Why don't you get me the paperwork for the support fund this afternoon? That's so generous." Everyone was happy and in agreement. He looked like he swallowed a lemon, but everyone said, "Oh my God, Bob, how thoughtful." He had to eat it badly and got me the documentation an hour later. Bob can suck it. Bob is only a contractor, so he'll be moving on soon anyway. Medically, I'm doing better and very happy to move on from where I was. Aubrey's been full on radio silence, which is perfect for me.